Howdy there, neighbors. This is Ian with the eTrailer here, and today we're going to be taking a look at a 2-year review for our SuperSprings here. Now, the vehicle behind me that I have is a 4Runner owned by one of our videographers named John, who's been nice enough to loan it to us to take a look and see how has the SuperSpring held up. They do live on a gravel road, so they've got that abuse, and we're out of the Midwest here at eTrailer, and so we've got a lot of rock, salt, and sand that gets put down come winter time. So it's going to be a good opportunity for us to not only look and see how the rubber of the replacement bump stop is holding up, and also all the brackets that are holding that on. We have a lot of neighbors that ask, how are these going to hold up? If it really is the one-time solution for me, is this going to be the right one? So let's take a closer look, see how those are holding up, and we'll talk to John a little bit about how he feels about the ride of his vehicle now. Now, I did go ahead and pull the one that's been on there for a couple years off so we can take a closer look between the two, and we'll see there's really not much difference from brand new out of the box and 2 years in. We don't have any dry rot or cracking. Even the bracket that the rubber part's attached to is holding up decently well, especially for the abuse this has been through. We do have a little bit of corrosion and some paint damage, but that's pretty normal here for us in the Midwest. And even comparing the brackets between our old and new, we see it's the same type of wear, not really all that bad in comparison. Again, considering since we're in the Midwest and they're pretty heavy with the salts and the sand when we get some ice out here. So for that to be able to hold up that well, I would say it's pretty decent. Now, lucky for us, John was willing to do an interview, and I've got a couple questions just to kind of help narrow down specifically what he felt about these SuperSprings. So just starting off here, John, I do appreciate you allowing us to get this little clip here for our neighbors, so that way they've got a great idea of what's going on with the SuperSprings. When you initially got these on, were there any adverse conditions that you took your vehicle in that may stand out when it comes to using these SuperSprings?
It's been up into the Wisconsin area, so there's usually going to be a lot more ice and snow. I happened to take it out to Colorado multiple times, and it helped out there whenever we were kind of going off-road and checking out some of the scenery. And then with being on our farm, usually we'll take it out into some of the fields when we need to check things, or even if we just want to use it for like stargazing or camping. It seemed to be pretty good whenever it comes to helping with those odd terrain situations, and I haven't noticed any odd situations where it isn't helping.
Now, when it comes to any heavy loads, have you done any towing with the 4Runner now that you've got the SuperSprings on there? And have you noticed any difference as far as your towing capabilities and how that feels on the back of your vehicle?
Oh, very much so. There was actually a couple situations where I was moving heavy cement blocks back and forth on the farm, and there was a good amount of the cement blocks in the back, and I didn't really notice very much of anything. I've also had a teardrop camper hooked up to the back of it, and it pulled it just fine. And I think one of the best tests for it was I helped one of my friends move from Wisconsin all the way down into the Ohio area. Oof. And we had a U-Haul fully filled up. It was a very long trip, and there was a very heavy trip too. But I think it made a world of difference helping with some of those things, especially with peace of mind, because when you're going on those longer trips, it's worrisome whenever you're carrying or hauling a lot.
Absolutely. Wonderful. After 2 years, have you noticed any degradation in performance? Does it feel the exact same as day one, or maybe they've worn down a little bit and you're starting to feel more movement in them? Is there anything notable that you find on these?
Not really. If there is any, it's pretty negligible. I think I can't really tell you. Whenever it comes to the heavier loads, there may be a little bit of last suspension, but there's so many other factors with what's on the axle and the springs. I don't want to put it on the springs themselves or the SumoSprings themselves that they're not doing their job. I still think they're doing a great job.
That's great to hear. Wonderful. Well, again, John, I really appreciate you taking some time with me here today. We'll go ahead and get back to the rest of the shoots we've got for the day, but thank you again. I really appreciate your time.
No problem.
Now, I do hope this video was helpful in showing you the comparison between what would be the new SuperSpring here in my hand and how they're going to hold up over a couple years. My name is Ian with eTrailer, and I really appreciate you watching.